to the High Queen podcast.
Prepare to embark on a journey through books you'll fall in love with, as well as the leading ladies who inspire our own stories.
Our friendship blossomed from pageantry to page turners, sparking a desire to show other women that they too can be their own main character.
I'm Miranda.
And I'm Autumn.
And together we'll lead you through books of all genres, from epic fantasy series, romance, all levels of spice, even to autobiographies of real life heroines.
Now, we are some passionate bitches. So remember, this podcast is rated R and prepare your ears. It's time to celebrate the heroines who redefine what it means to be brave and bold.
So grab your books, beverage, and your bestie and crack open your book to page 243. And let's do a quick check-in with each other before we dive in. Oh my gosh, we're
so
like
excited.
So deep into this book. So much is happening. Oh my God.
I just love it. I'm so excited to get into this section of the book because I mean, I feel like each section of this book has a lot of adventure amp up, but we get to do so much within these chapters. So I'm so excited. But my check-in. Yeah. My check-in, it's kind of like same old for me. Nothing too crazy happened since we last got to talk to each other. And I guess the main thing is Christmas is still up at my house. I mean, maybe not in this room that I'm in right now, but still got a tree up. I'm like, I don't know when that's going to get taken down. Typically, I am it's New Year's Day. Let's go.
You're like, done, take it out.
Yeah, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. And it's fine. I don't feel like it's consuming me. So it's fine. But it does need to come down. That being said, part of the reason it's not down is because I hosted 2 birthday parties for my 4-year-old this weekend. And I feel like I want an award and a vacation for that. Because Thank you. We can all applause for me. Because it was a lot of work and it's a lot of stress because I want it to go so well for her and I want her to be happy and joyous. And so, yeah, they were unicorn rainbow themed. Good
perfection.
Times. And yep, I did my nails to be unicorn rainbows as well. So it was fun.
For those of you who for the video listeners.
For those of you who listen and can't see, I do my own nails at home, and it's been a hobby or a passion project, if you will, for the last year. I like to think I've gotten pretty good at it. So
oh my God, you have. And I got to drop really quick because I don't know that we've actually said this in an episode yet, but you can watch these episodes. You can listen, of course, Spotify, Apple, all the things, if we add some more streaming services, but you can also go to YouTube. We have a High Queen podcast YouTube channel. We'll put it on socials if we haven't already. We're a little bit in the future, or in the past. But yeah, watch us on YouTube if you want to watch and see our silly faces and, the things that we mention in real time. So
all the fun stuff. Yeah. So that was kind of what's new with me getting back into routine. I did restart all of Bridgerton. I'm already on season 3. Well, the new season's going to drop this month, at least the first half of it. And I just want to be mentally prepared.
That is fair. Wait, haven't we gotten through all the brothers? So who's this season about?
We are not through all the brothers.
Okay. I watched the first season. I started the second and I dropped off. I need to pick it back up.
Oh, yes, it's good. No, we've gotten through Anthony, Daphne, and Colin, and we're on to Benedict.
Okay. I don't remember who that is.
It's okay. For those of you who do watch, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This particular season looks like it's going to have somewhat of like a Cinderella kind of moment with the person that he meets. I don't know much else about it because I didn't read those books.
They're on my shelf.
Just a TV show watcher, but nonetheless, I'm excited, and that is my check-in.
Perfect. It's still Christmas here too. I am not like a strict, but my birthday comes right after, and I have such a love for Christmas that I'm like, leave it up for a couple more weeks. We went and like picked up Christmas lights and things, 50-60% off after the holidays, and they had this gorgeous pre-lit all black Christmas tree. And I was like, for my office, for the
All black.
holidays in my office. That sounds bougie. So someday we'll have a beautiful all black. Oh, it was stunning. I was like silver tinsel. It was just giving all of the good vibes. I have plans to paint in here. Although
That's so
you see
cool.
little bits of white, but I so many ideas. But yeah, so Christmas. It's still Christmas here too. I had my birthday. I turned 28. I'm now 28. Yes, it's exciting.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I went back to work, which is always rough after the holidays. We had like a couple of days off, which
Yeah.
whatever. I got all A's this last semester.
Yay!
I thought I was gonna get a B in one of my courses because I don't know if the professor enjoyed my time, but that's fine. I got an A. So last night I was like,
All A's at Harvard. You are a
all
freaking
A's.
beast. Get
Thanks.
it, girl. Proud
I
of
had to
you.
be proud of myself. Thank you. Thank you. Now, before we move on, again, we're in the past. Y'all are in the future. Conformity gate. Are
Mm.
they dropping more Stranger Things or are we all
Okay.
just Delulu?
No, no, no.
But
You have to understand. I'm a Taylor Swift fan.
uh-huh. So you love Easter eggs. You love an
We,
Easter egg.
but here's what we know better than anything. It's clowning so hard for something that shall never come to you. All right.
We
So,
all want it so bad.
do I believe in conformity gate? I think I'm just too far into like never receiving Reputation Taylor's version to even give my effort and belief to conformity gate. I'm like, that's so nice that all of you are going down that road. I feel that I've been down a similar road and
That's
I
fair.
didn't like what was at the end. So good luck.
Okay. Now, in the same then maybe like realm, not Stranger Things related at all. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I have to.
Oh.
Feeling Delulu, wanting things that may never come. Kay Stewart, Kristen Stewart, our Bella, our girl Bella, is out here saying she wants to direct a Twilight remake and be it. I'm like, so everybody wants to
Listen,
be in Twilight again? You all hated it,
listen.
but give it to me.
I know because a few episodes past, we were talking about Robert Pattinson being like, "Yeah, I'd
Yes.
do it." Listen, it is aged well. Okay, its fandom is still alive and well,
So well, yeah.
and obviously
We
we'd watch
us.
it. You and me. But truthfully,
Midnight premiere.
do I kind of think that she said that just to be like in the moment? Yeah. Do I think it's time for a Twilight remake? No.
No. We're just hitting 20th anniversary of the books.
No,
Like,
it's not time.
no, it's
I
not.
need those actors to be so much older and different looking that we have to choose different actors.
Different people. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I saw somebody too in the comments that, I think we could all maybe agree with a little bit that was like, okay, if you're going to quote unquote remake it, how about you give us either a different story like we all want for the Harry Potter series that's coming out, but again, we'll talk about that someday, or make it not so YA. Maybe give us the things that we wanted, make it a little darker, maybe a little bit more sluttier, like just give us, now that we are all older, and still alive and well and loving Twilight, maybe just give us a reimagining as opposed to like a remake. I don't know, I just had to throw it in there. I wasn't going to, and then Kristen Stewart, she's saying all these things, and it makes my young loving Twilight loving heart palpitate.
I
So,
know, I
but
know. And the other thing I always think about is that last scene in the credits. I just feel like they did it so well that I'm like,
so
we don't
good.
need to redo this.
It makes me
It's
cry every
fine,
time.
just as it is. But
Yeah.
but yes, I understand that. And maybe one day, we'll
One
get
day.
something for
And
this
we'll
book.
be there. We will be there.
For this book.
I know,
want
I'm
to see
saying
this book in TV, in movie adaptation, something. And I want it to be done well. But I think we should kind of get into it. Yeah?
Yes.
Let's go. Okay, so whoa, once again, a lot happened. So, Miranda, take us through this.
I mean, initial impressions. I To the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. It's
We
so
got it. We
beautiful.
got it. We got it. Listen, this quote, if you are just now entering this fandom, you're just now entering this book for the first time. This is a quote you want to get tattooed on your body. Okay. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this will stick with you forever. This is this moment of sheer rip your heart out vulnerability where they are being so open and candid with one another and
Oh,
they
goosebumps.
see one another. It's like
So
I
good.
see you moment of like, you are more than the world perceives you. You are more than what has happened to you. Like, oh, it's so good. Yes,
It's so
absolutely.
good.
And I wrote down that exact same quote because I was like, yes, we got it. And for me, it kind of captures what this entire section becomes, which is
Yes.
growth, growing into yourself, revealing parts of yourself to one another, and truly being with someone who can see the essence of who you are, and
It's a beautiful
appreciate
thing.
that. So yeah, I agree. What a fun little trip we have here at the to the human world. I'm obsessed with the banter that happens in this section. It's fan freaking tastic, and
So good.
we get a new court. Yay!
Finally.
You know, I was so excited to go to the night court. I feel like we still only know like a small portion of it considering its
Right.
size. But that being said, getting to go to the summer court, getting to see Adriata, I was like, yes, I'm ready, because that sounds like my kind of place. The
Oh, yeah.
description of it, I was like, take me,
Right.
keep me
Right. Let
warm.
me go. I want to go to there. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Amen
I
to
was
that.
so happy with this whole section. Yeah, those are my first impressions too.
It's a pretty good section. Like we're really into this book. Yeah, the quote. It was said at my wedding, I think by myself, by my mom, multiple people. Like it's so good. And you're right. It's seeing one another and like I'm gonna get into it. I also, the banter, it's like raw and real, these moments. And I'm obsessed with this growing relationship that everyone has with Feyre. Like, it's not
Mm.
just her and Rhys, of course, we're going to get into that, but like her relationship with everyone. Her and Amryn are like giggling with each other at the end, and even her growth within like her inner monologues. And I'm like a proud big sister.
Yeah.
Also can't wait to see what parts of Prithian we get next because I just am eating it up. Adriata was beautiful. Valaris is beautiful. I need more. I need more.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you not more, but an overview of what we went through. So, chapter 23 opens with a quiet but powerful reminder that it has been 1 year. 1 year since Feyre killed Andress. Just 1 year. Like that's it. Which I think really drives home how much can change in really
Mm-hmm.
honestly such a short amount of time. Like we have gone through a lot with our girl Feyre. So for the first time since becoming Fae, Feyre returns to the human realm and she goes home. She visits Nesta and Elaine and finally shares what's happened to her, like open and real and honest and just kind of without, I mean, there's hesitation, but also without hesitation, really. Really love her openness here. She's not really hiding or sugarcoating in this moment. We learn that Elaine is engaged to a lord's son who has spent his life hunting Fae, which makes things immediately more tense. And our girl Nesta, ice motherfucking cold. And then she refers to Feyre as italics, your kind. Like you could just feel the like bitter hatred, icy way that you know that came out of her mouth. She is
Yeah.
not a fan. But Elaine actually steps up. She understands what Feyre is risking by coming there and what all of them could lose if they don't help, because the humans know something is going on beyond the wall. They know that war is coming or something is happening. So she actually convinces Nesta to allow Feyre to use their home. Now in
That
chapter
was really interesting, by the way. Like, Elaine is the most willing to be like, I want to help Feyre. She sees her. She's like, you gave all of this
mm-hmm.
for us. I want to help you. and I want to help others. Her saying that, I think, really says so
Right.
much about a character that we really feel like we maybe know the least in all of this.
Yeah, and when we go into more of our like character analysis later, there's a few quotes and things that I pulled that I was baffled in the best way by
Mm-hmm.
how she stepped up and how she was there for her sister. And I love to see this little bit of growth from Elaine.
Yeah.
Even though she's like marrying somebody who hates Faye, it's all like really
Mm-hmm.
convoluted, right? It's hard. She loves her sister, but she's also human.
Absolutely.
Like,
And Nesta being so quick to turn on a dime to be like, I'm not helping you. I'm not helping your kind. And Elaine being like, let's do it. And Nesta's like, okay.
fine.
She will do
But
anything
also,
Elaine says.
yes. And like again, in our character analysis later, that's some of the stuff that I noted on Nesta is, I think we saw that in ACOTAR that yeah, she's
Mm,
protective of Elaine, but even more so now.
yeah.
But if Elaine
Yeah.
says, then like Nesta's gonna go along with it because she's not gonna leave her alone. So I so excited to dive a little bit
Mm-hmm.
deeper into them now that we've gotten a little bit more. But
Absolutely.
in chapter 24, we learn that humans again know that something is kind of stirring beyond the wall. And Azrael actually believes that this awareness could maybe help them retrieve the human half of the Book of Breathings, because that's what they're there for. They're there to send a letter to the human queens and to try to get them to come to the Archeron estate, if you will. And then the sisters meet the Bat Boys. I don't think we've referred to them as this yet, but
No,
they're
it's
three
time.
winged, beautiful mans. It's time. It's time to drop it in. So the three sisters meet the three Bat Boys. Oh, well, Feyre knows them. Duh. The two sisters meet the Bat Boys.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty much as awkward as you would expect. I mean, it was awkward between the sisters when Feyre comes in. It's awkward when we introduce these gorgeous specimens of men. And after a lot of back and forth, they all kind of work together to write this letter to the human queens and then wait. They give it a couple of days to see if they hear back and just to figure out kind of what to do next. So on a supposed day off after they send off this or after they write this letter and send it off, Feyre asks Rhys to train her powers, and almost immediately she decides that he is a little distracting and she tells him to leave. Their banter, the sexual tension is building. So she says, you gotta go, baby. Like, I can't, I need rage. Right now, she's honing her powers with rage or depression or
Anger.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So she's like, you don't make me angry, you make me feel something, and it's not anger. So she says, leave. And he does, but not without a very Rhys-esque sexual comment that makes Feyre giggle. We all giggled, and then everything goes sideways for a moment because the adder, I think we all mentally, or maybe out loud, if you were me, said fuck. Because the adder shows up and he captures Feyre in the human lands, which, like, I don't think you're expecting to see the adder here of all places, because the last place that we saw him was under the mountain. And we haven't seen him since Amarantha was killed and he disappeared.
Right.
Of course, Rhys arrives just in time to save her. He tortures the adder and learns that it was sent specifically to retrieve Feyre. They've been kind of watching her as best they
Mm.
can, and that an army of allies from every territory is preparing to attack. It's like every territory. Okay, interesting. So Azrael then also shows up. He takes the adder back to Prythian to continue the interrogation. And as they say, to quote, send a message to Hybern. So they do some damage to the adder, which, like, well deserved. You basically beat our girl to a pulp, and yeah, you're nasty. So we learned then that this training session wasn't accidental. Rhys used Feyre as bait to see who would come for her when she was alone. And understandably, she's furious. She's pissed, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is fair. He's got a plan for everything. He rarely shares his plan, and it pisses her off. And so she tries to hit him. And then she like sprouts talons again as she's chasing him through this field. He's winnowing away from her, and then she winnows as she's trying to catch Rhys, she winnows. This girl, she's got it within her. She winnows and she catches him and she tackles him to the ground, and he's just grinning. He's like, yes, she did it. She caught me. She winnowed. We all were like, applause, applause for our girl Feyre. But here I really love, I wrote down this quote because Feyre is standing her ground. She said, quote, you said I could be a weapon. Teach me to become one. Don't use me like a pawn. And if being one is part of my work for you, then I'm done. Done. Yes, bitch. Yes. You know your worth. You know what you want to do. You know the person you want to be. Say that, share that. And so Rhys apologizes.
Absolutely.
You know, he's like, I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, it's necessary evil, but he does apologize and it feels sincere. And he says that they should go home. It's time to return to Velaris. And Feyre responds, Velaris isn't my home. And we see real hurt flash across Rhys's face in this moment, which is like, he wants it to be her home. He wants her to love somewhere, someplace. And I think he thought that was happening, but also she hasn't really seen a ton of Velaris. She needs time. Like, I get it, but I also
she even
feel for
remarks
him.
that earlier in the chapters, before she remarks that, well, maybe Velaris could be her home. And so this just feels like anger, like lashing out.
Yeah. Which is what our girl does best, right? Like that's kind of what she does. And you know, we all do that sometimes. We say things that are hurtful because we know it's going to get a rise out of somebody. We know that it's going to, you know, make them do or say something. So I get it. We've all been there. Elaine and Nesta, they mail off the letter so that the, you know, inner circle who's there, the Bat Boys and Feyre, they can return to Velaris and kind of just await a response from the human queens, await a response from everybody else, the summer court. So Rhys leaves to deal with the Adder as well. And when he returns, Feyre admits something that I clocked as interesting. Quote, something tight in my chest eased when I found nothing amiss. She was worried about him. You know, and I think that's sweet. You know, again, we're seeing this like growing friendship of her with sort of everybody. So I liked that. And then expecting to be shut out like she always was with Tamlin, Feyre is surprised when Rhys asks how much she wants to know and then allows her in and shows her his memories from inside his mental shield. And we learn about the Court of Nightmares where they were just torturing the Adder. We learn about Hybern's massive army, that a small force was already waiting in Prythian for Feyre. And then we, you know, see Azriel use, oh my God, what's the knife's name?
Truth Teller.
Truth Teller. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yes, we see our Shadow Singer use Truth Teller to, you know, beat the Adder to a pulp like he did Feyre. And then Rhys apologizes for not kind of telling her, you know, all of this sooner and letting her in on his plans and whatever, and letting her into his mind was sort of a peace offering. And this inspires Feyre to make one of her own, but to Tamlin by writing him a letter. Quote, I left of my own free will. I am cared for and safe. Please don't come looking for me. I'm not coming back. Feels very finite, you know, it's a decision and it's a decision all on her own. And after sending it, again, I quoted this, quote, her head felt clearer than it had in days, months. Like this weight is lifting off of her shoulders.
Done.
You know,
done. Yep.
We're over it. We're moving on in whatever way that is. And then, you know, she sends this letter and then she gets a little frisky and she teases Rhys and asks if he will show her his city at night because he says that's when it's the most beautiful. And he promises dinner. A date? No. The whole inner circle is coming, which, okay, fair. So
let's all go.
It
feels like
date.
That moment in
Group
Twilight when Bella or when Mike, is it Mike, right?
Yes.
Where Mike invites Bella to the movie and she's like, yes, let's all go. Come with
everybody to the movie.
I know, that's so funny. So yeah, they all go out on the town.
Yes, which is also fun. So they walk through Valaris, they stop at this restaurant and go to dinner where they're clearly known and loved. And it's not just food that fills Feyre's stomach. It fills, quote, the lingering hole in my chest, too. This girl is healing. All of these things, they're healing her. And it actually makes her in this moment think about painting again, about creating beauty for others, the way that the chef is creating, art and beauty for them with their food. And I was just like, yeah, girl, find your passions, be happy. You don't just have to be a weapon, a tool. You can also live and be. And I just loved that.
Yes.
So after they eat, Moore wants to go dancing at Rita's, which is like the club where they like to go. Asriel immediately in. This boy's like, yeah, let's go do some dancing. Cassian, he agrees to come for drinks only. Apparently he's a bad dancer, which, is fine. I am too. And honestly, this interaction especially makes them feel normal. They're not untouchable. They're not distant. It's very unlike Tamlin in our first book and in our first interactions with fairies. Like Cassian and Azriel and Moore and Amrit, they're just people. They're just people, and they just want to live their life too. They want to, have fun and enjoy things and not always be at war and not always be holding court and XYZ. So they're normal. They're like you and me with wings and powers. So instead, Rhys and Feyre, they walk home together, kind of talking openly about Valaris. They talk a little bit about Amren and the inner circle. And then Feyre's kind of stopped in her tracks as she hears music that she's only heard once before in her cell. And she realizes in this moment that it was Rhys. Rhys sent her music in her cell under the mountain, quote, from him, because you were breaking and I couldn't find another way to save you. Instant tears from me. Feyre doesn't start crying, but like, oh, this man, he shared without knowing it for her. He shared this piece of himself, even though it was nothing but music. And she sees an image of Valaris, which we will talk about more later. But he shares this piece of him with her because that's all he could do, and that's all he could hope would keep her going. And I was just like, you're such a good man. You're so good. And then he picks her up and he flies her home. And in that moment, Feyre thinks she could love or learn to love flying. And I'm like, yeah, baby, we all could.
And I love how she's like, I could learn to love flying.
Dot.
Flying.
Yeah, we all can start with learning to love flying. So at home, she's laying in bed, she's reading a book, and a note appears. We get a little bit of flirty back and forth, and then Rhys, oh my God, he drops these gems. These are the two I wrote down. I think we'll mention some more later.
Don't worry, I wrote down some more.
I know you did. I was like, can I quote the whole page? Can I just quote this whole section? So we're just going to drop in two for now. We'll come back to the rest later. Quote, I'd much rather you lick my wounds for me. Feyre clenches her knees. We all do. And then again, he sends her another response that says, I've been told I'm very, very good at licking. And I said, Jesus Christ. And I said, yep, that's what we want, High Lord. Keep it up. Keep it coming.
Hey.
So good. Let me compose myself. Oh man. Okay. Now back to the real world, right? We had a night out. We had some flirting, but war's coming. Back to the real world. Training. We are now training with Cassian, not just Azriel on our powers, but we got to train with our boy Cassian.
I'm sorry you said that. And I thought club, another club.
Training. That boy.
Training. Keep going.
Honestly. So we start training with Cassian atop the House of Wind. And here, oh God, I want to see this with my own eyes. We see Rhys and Azriel shirtless. Yummy. They're tall, tan, muscly, tattooed. Like, yeah, come on, ladies and men. No judgment.
Heck yeah.
attractive, right? So we actually learn about their tattoos in this moment too, because they match Feyre's that's on her hand. She's getting to see that this is not just something that she has. And Cassian explains that they are given to Illyrian warriors for luck and glory and battle. And she kind of thinks to herself, maybe that's what they were meant to be for her too, under the mountain, not just this bond, this connection, but also a little bit of luck and glory, which is
yeah.
pretty beautiful thing to think about now. Yeah. Yes. And unknowing to her, of course,
but like once again makes you kind of love Rhys.
Yeah.
Oh, he
and
chose
again,
that for her.
Yeah, and he's sharing, like, without her knowing it at the time, he is sharing these pieces of himself, like, kind of so openly. The music, and when he goes to chat with her in her cell and gives her the tattoo, like, I'm sure that bond could have been created in a different way. But yeah,
perhaps. Yeah, I don't know.
We love our Rhys, but they train and chat, Cassian and Feyre, and as they're chatting, Cassian kind of prods at her a little bit about Tamlin, and it gets her brain working and thinking that she ignored Tamlin's red flags because she loved him, which we've all been there, ladies, men, all of us, I'm sure at one point or another. Yeah, you and me both. That's a whole other episode. I quoted this, he was still good, still Tamlin, but he was just wrong. Like, kind of let that settle in for a minute. For Feyre, for you, for me, not everybody is right for everyone.
Past lovers can be good people, but not right
but wrong for you. Yeah, amen to that.
It can be hard to see it when you love them that much.
Yeah. And she finally admits, like, within herself, how much she gave and how little he gave. And she breaks down. She starts crying, and then she burns through the wrappings on her hands that she was using. God, again, another scene. Like, yes, we want to see the shirtless Bat Boys, but also I need to see Valaris in these moments. And she burns through these wrappings, and in a moment, Rhys is there, and he wraps her in his wings to comfort her, not to protect her, but to comfort her. A difference, I think. Quote, you can either let it wreck you, let it get you killed like it nearly did with the Weaver, or you can learn to live with it. Again, just so like raw and real, and it's intimate. This moment between them, she's like, they're close. They're not like hugging or anything, but it's intimate. It's not physical. It's emotional. It's really beautiful. And then, in true Rhys and Feyre fashion, the flirting resumes, right? As Rhys kind of pushes her to try and summon darkness. He's like, okay, you just did a little fire with your hands. Let's try and summon darkness. Let's see what nuggets of my power you have. Just like she was able to do, with the autumn court elements. So no dice on that yet. But I have no doubt that Feyre will master it all. Like, she's going to do it. So in chapter 31, they continue their training. This is kind of a shorter chapter. We're still waiting on responses from the human queens, from the courts, summer court, and spring, because Feyre sent that letter, and she's, they're kind of like, is he going to say something back? What's going on here? Rhys arrives and announces that word has come from one of the above. He, Feyre, and Amren will be headed to the summer court. So it is time to see our third court. Now they winnow into Adriata. You've heard this. I had
Adriata.
Yep. Adriata. Perfect. So they winnow into Adriata, and they meet Tarquin, the High Lord of the Summer Court. He's young, he is thoughtful, he's idealistic. They say he's untested because he was appointed under the mountain. Now think back to a handful of episodes and chapters ago in ACOTAR, when we're under the mountain, and the High Lord of the Summer Court at the time, Rhys shatters his brain, his mind, because he tried to escape, thus, anointing or whatever they do Tarquin as the new High Lord of the Summer Court. So he was there. He saw what Feyre did, what they went through. And Tarquin says, he kind of wants to form an alliance with Rhys. He kind of likes Rhys. They have some of the same ideas about what the world can look like. And he's willing to fight against Hybern. He's ready for that. But he says, I am not willing to go to war between you, Rhys, and Tamlin over Feyre. And we learn in this moment that courts are legally obligated, apparently, to return a bride a possession, which I was like, no. But that they are supposed to be legally obligated to return Feyre to Tamlin if he requested it. If he found out that they were there and said, bring me my bride, bring me my lady, they would feel the need to do it. And it's
and I think something important to point out here too is that the summer court is known as a neutral court, an in between. So they don't feel alliance towards anyone. So the rule of law is kind of like just the thing that they follow to stay in the middle ground.
Yeah.
And then going back just a second, I do want it to be noted that Tarquin even says during these chapters, he believes, and we see this too throughout ACOTAR, that Rhys shattered the previous Summer Lord's mind because he was instructed by Amarantha to make him like a mindless, soulless, but instead killed him
to protect
out of mercy and to protect the people. So, and Tarquin acknowledges that and knows that. So he's more inclined to lean his neutrality towards the Night Court right now, which I think is really interesting.
And we can talk about it more later, but Tarquin is so interesting because he's very like, he pays attention, right? So he paid attention to that, but he also pays attention to the fact that he thinks that Rhys being Amarantha's whore was not because he wanted to be, because he had to be. And that is such a difference between the way that other people see him. And I'm like, Tarquin, I like
how
you.
Perceptive.
And we all do, right?
Yes.
Yes. And right here, I want to just bring a couple questions forward that I think went through Feyre's mind, all of our minds. Would Tamlin go to war over her? Would his greed and his need to protect really, truly extend that far? You know, it's something to think
what
about.
Do you think? Do you think yes or no? Rapid fire. I say yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The way this man acts, the way that he reacts.
He is reactive to every emotion he feels before thinking. So yes, I think so.
I think so too. But we don't want to believe it. Feyre doesn't want to believe that. Like, she still sees him as good. She still has a little bit of faith in him, right? Like, he's not all bad. He just didn't love her the way that she needed and wanted, and she doesn't seem to love and want him the way that he needs. So as we talk about, like, you know, would Tamlin go to war? We would return you if we had to. Cressida, you've heard it. I haven't. It is Cressida. See, I'm killing it today. So Cressida is the princess of Adriata. She's also got a brother, Varian. And Cressida basically threatens to tell Tamlin. She's kind of like, I'll tell him. I'll call him right now. Let me send him a text. You know, we'll get him here. And so Rhys threatens her back. And he's like, yeah, you do that and see what happens. You know, let me be the most powerful High Lord in all of Prythian. And, you know, Tarquin, he jumps in and he refuses to treat Feyre as anything but a guest, especially after what he witnessed that she sacrificed under the mountain. And to probably, you know, break the tension a little bit between everyone, Tarquin announces that night there will be a party. They're all going to go on his party barge and they're going to go out into the ocean and they're going to have a little fun. So before they go out onto the boat, Rhys and Feyre share, you know, a little bit of quippiness and some moments in their room. Not their room, her room. He comes to her room. Rhys admits that he likes Tarquin, and Feyre does too, but Rhys worries whether he's drawn to Feyre for sex, for power, for all of the above. And then Feyre uses this to tease Rhys, and the tension is palpable. You can feel it. You can feel it. And she goes, you know, I could sleep with Tarquin. And Rhys says, do what you want, who you want, as he's like bracing his arms around her. Do what
you have to.
As long as you get that book, baby, he says, do what you have to do. And she's like, okay. So they kind of leave, like, the tension then is yes, sexual, but it's also like a little prickly in this moment.
Different from the first time when he was like, Cassian would do you. That felt like, haha, so I'll do it. This feels almost potential.
Yes.
Maybe like more is on the line. Ding, ding, ding.
So the party begins. Feyre chats with Tarquin, who speaks passionately about ruling differently, breaking down class systems. So she gets to know a little bit more about him. And I love this quote from him. He's speaking of kind of the class system, like I said, and of, quote unquote, lesser Fae. I would like to one day see a Prithian in which they have a voice, both in my hometown and in the world beyond it. And I was like, again, somebody who wants the world to be different, who wants to do things differently, like Rhys, maybe less like Tamlin. I really like Tarquin. It sucks, what we have to do to him, but we're gonna get there. So Feyre realizes in this moment how easy it would be to love Tarquin, and she says that. She says to him, I could love you, but it would be even easier to be your friend. And she's kind of like watching Rhys as she's saying these things, and he's not giving her any glimmers of, facial expression because she is on his lap. He's rubbing little circles on her hand. They're flirting. Feyre's clocking it. She's like, motherfucker. So she's jealous. She is jealous. And in this moment, seeing that and seeing the way that he's flirting with her, she admits to herself that she is lonely and deeply unhappy. But as sad as those two feelings are, they are feelings. It's not just numb. It's not just dark and empty. Those are feelings. They're more than just rage. And so I was like, yeah, girl, we're working. We're
Feel
working
something.
So yeah, they're a little prickly with each other. Feyre, goes to the edge of the boat, expects Rhys to come for her. He never does. They get off the boat. Rhys and Cressida are gone, and she's like, he's fucked her. He took her to bed, whatever. She's mad about it. So she stays in her room. She doesn't want to see him at breakfast. She doesn't want to see who he's with at breakfast, who he comes out of his room with. And then, it's time for her to spend some time with Tarquin, to have him show her around a little bit, explore the city, trying to find, or more so feel, the Book of Breathings. And she, Rhys also is there as they go to head off on this little adventure, her and Tarquin, and she doesn't even look his direction. These two are flirting with the summer court royalty. They are crossing, maybe some dangerous lines with each other. So she just ignores him and she heads on her way. So she spends time with Tarquin. She kind of goes around the city. She's trying to feel this pull. And on her way back to the castle one evening, she notices a temple out on an island, only to be seen when the tide recedes and from certain vantage points. And there's just this feeling of what's that? So at dinner that night, she asks Tarquin about the building, and the look that he and Cressida share tells Feyre pretty much everything she needs to know, and that she's on to something. Excuse me, hiccups. That she's on to something. But she also sees this uh-oh. So she slips into Tarquin's mind and basically becomes him, becomes the salt and the sea and the brine, and convinces his brain that she's fine. She's a friend. Take her to the temple. It's all good. And they use this opportunity to go to the temple and, watching the guards and whatever, knowing it's there. And they formulate a plan to get in because they're like, yeah, this is it. Because why else would they be weird about it? Feyre's got a feeling it's not anywhere else. And Feyre's sick over lying and stealing from Tarquin, but she knows that this is a necessary evil, which I feel like is also a little bit of growth for her. She knows what she has to do. She feels bad about it, but she knows it has to be done. And I think she just hopes that he'll understand. He seems like a pretty understanding guy, so maybe in the future he'll get it. Chapter 36, Feyre and Amren, they make it to the temple. Rhys is flying around. He's watching the guards. They go to the temple, and she can feel the book. It was pretty easy initially for them to get in. They get to the temple. She gets into the summer court locks. Honestly, a lot easier than she probably should. She even shape shifts her hands into Tarquin's hands to open the lock. And again is being him mentally to tell these locks, I am Tarquin. I am Seat. I am Seat. I am sea. I am salt. I am brine.
This made my attention stand on end. I was like, because the way I read it, I felt like it was more than her hand. She she talks about the eyes transforming until she's standing there as Tarquin.
She's fully him. So, and I know she said hands, but I
Yes, and
wasn't
I
sure if
think
it was like fully Tarquin or not that
because the
first
first
door.
time I read it as hands, and then when I was listening back to it, she's standing there as him, and it makes me go, holy shit, she just shape shifted
Into
into
another
another
person.
human. And maybe it's easier for her to access it because she has a piece of it within her. But then it makes you think about Tamlin's shape shifting abilities.
Mm-hmm. Can he shapeshift into other
Because
people?
I feel like we never saw the full extent of his power ever.
Yeah.
One, because it was locked up for so long. And two, I don't think he ever really showed it. And then we weren't there long enough to really see it. So, like,
Yeah.
if Feyre can shapeshift into anybody, that is insane. Insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, that made my
Excited to
attention
see.
stand up. What? What?
Yeah. Well, and then I'm like, I would be freaking out. Now they can't freak out. Amren's, cool, calm, and collected, but I'd be like, holy fucking shit. Anyway, she transforms into Tarquin, gets through the doors, they find the book, and then shit hits the fan. Because the book, the box that it's in, the lead box, realizes it ain't Tarquin, it's somebody else. So water starts to flood the temple. Both of the doors that they've gotten through have slammed shut. So they get to the first door, and Amren uses her mysterious power. We get a little taste of some symbols and whirls coming from her hands, to bust open this first door. And there's water rushing in, so Feyre basically says, hold on tight, spider monkey, grabs her to try to get to the next door. And there, I mean, Amren is trying her powers. Feyre's like shoulder slamming into it. She's got talons that she is producing to like try to break through this lead door. And just as she's about to basically pass out in the water, she needs to breathe. All hope seems lost. The door rips away. Who is it? Is it Rhys? No, it is 3 water wraiths there to rescue them. And they said, quote unquote, our sister's debt is paid. And I said, Feyre, yes, that kindness coming full circle. And I said, I knew it. Fuck you, Tamlin. Yes, Feyre, yes, she's compassionate. And I'm like, that's going to serve her really well in whatever is to come with the war and Prithian and maybe a war between Tamlin and Rhys. I was just like, yeah. So they end up on the shore. Rhys shows up and he's like, the fuck did you two do? There's all of these like sirens going off, and I took out as many people as I could, but like not everybody, we gotta go. So he winnows them back to Valaris. They end up on the carpet of the townhouse. And Feyre and Amren kind of look at each other and they share a laugh because they're like, what did we just go through? And I think in that moment, truly become friends.
Oh yeah, because they like, both fully believe they're gonna die. Like Amren's like, we're dying.
And then she's like, and you gave a water wraith jewels, like, you dumb bitch, but thank you for being a dumb bitch and doing something most people would not do. You saved our lives. Like, it's such a fun moment. But of course we aren't done. This chapter is not done because the book. Now Rhys asks Feyre to open the lead box, holding
back in Valaris.
Yes, we're in Valaris.
We have
escaped
the Summer Court.
Yes, we are away from Summer, away from Tarquin. We're in the townhouse, and everybody's there. The inner circle is there, and they're all like recoiling from this box. And Rhys says, "You got to open it, Feyre." And it speaks to her, and everyone can hear it, which I think is really interesting. And it says, like calls to like. And they kind of have a little bit of back and forth. And she says, open for me, open for me. And it finally ends with like calls to like. And the box opens. And inside is a book, not a book that you would expect. It's like metal plates and things, binded together. And this book is written in a language not of this world. And we pan, if this is a movie, we pan to Amren, who's pale. She's pale already. She goes even more pale. She says, quote, "It is no language of this world. It is the Leshon Hakodesh? Leshon Hakodesh?
Leshon Hakodesh.
Okay. The holy tongue. And Amren may be the only one who can truly read because of the language. Like Feyre has to use it to nullify the cauldron, but Amren is the one who can read the language, discover the nullifying spell, and maybe, just maybe, it could be what sends her home. And Rhys reveals that this is why she needed to go to the summer court with them, because he had a feeling, he had heard rumblings that this book was written in the ancient language and that this could be a ticket for Amren to, release herself from this, I was going to say immortal body, and someday head home. And, we talk a little bit more about the war coming. We're still waiting for the human queens. We bring up again Jurian and Miriam and Drakon, who are all pieces of this much larger puzzle. Feyre notes, like, I need to ask more about them. Thank you, Feyre, for doing so in the future, because we also need to know, like, what's their connection? What's going on between these people? And the inner circle's like, okay, but back up. We got a second, right? Amren, Feyre, tell us, what did you two just do? Like, how did we end up here? And so Amren begins to tell them this, what feels like a tall tale. And in this moment, Feyre's listening, everybody's listening, and Rhys brushes against Feyre's mind, kind of asking to be let in and just saying, hey. And it's this intimate, quiet, charged moment just between the two of them. And that's the end for today. That's the end of this chunk. So
now I had just a couple random thoughts I wanted to include within our summary, and some of them are magic rules, because I really like to make sure that as we're going through these books, we're kind of keeping track of how this magic system works and adding on to our knowledge and making sure we kind of clock those moments. So first being magic system, the pockets between worlds, Rhys says those have no air. Therefore, you cannot hide in them as a being who needs air.
You just move between them.
Just a little
hold your breath.
Well, like, and she puts not even just winnowing, but like where they store things. Like even Tamlin, he like stores half a table inside this world pocket. Well, we cannot go into the world pocket and live. So something we should note. Rhys talks about the types of darkness, which I thought was so cool. It talks about how there is darkness that soothes, frightens, is restful, the darkness of lovers, and the darkness of assassins, and that it becomes what the bearer wishes or needs. It's not wholly good or bad. It is, if you will, morally gray.
Morally gray.
And that last part's not in the book. That was me. Okay, and then so I thought that was a really interesting part of like the magic system as well, because in the last episode we questioned the difference in shadows between Azriel and Rhys, and I think this kind of attests to that too. Like the darkness becomes what the bearer needs it to be. And then we little thing about Summer Court as we go through world building as well. It has 4 main cities, Adriata being one of them, where they spend the last month of winter and the first months of spring in, and that Amarantha wrecked part of Adriata that they're now rebuilding. I think that's important. And then the last piece of world building, or no, second to last world building piece, Spring Court has shut down its borders. Let's note that. I
forgot to mention that. Yes.
And then I believe is it Cressida, I think, tells us. No. Sorry. Caradwyn. There we go. Different C word. Yes. Caradwyn tells us that the Court of Dreams was founded on 3 things: defend, honor, cherish.
I also noted that, and I'm scrolling. Yeah. I also love, and no, it's not Caradwyn, it's Amren. She says Amren. The Court of Dreams. Yeah. So I noted this too, and I wanted to bring it up. Quote, in the Court of Dreams, the Court of Dreams is founded on 3 things: to defend, to honor, and to cherish. Were you expecting brute strength and obedience? My internal monologue, like Tamlin. Many of Rhysand's top officials have little to no power, and Azriel, despite his disobedience, is acting to defend his court, his people. So no, Rhysand does not punish that. There are rules, but they are flexible. Like that whole little chunk I thought was so interesting too, again, as we like discuss, like, what does Prithian have to look like? And then I was like, okay, so is that why it's called the Court of Dreams? Because they dare to dream of a different world. Like, we learn a little bit
Yeah.
about why Valaris was created. And it's one with less faction between people. Women are in these higher roles. Like, I found that so beautiful and so interesting, again, to get that comparison between, this was, I think, even before we met Tarquin, but the two High Lord courts that we know so far: Spring,
Mhm.
rules, tradition; Night Court, yeah, we're gonna try some stuff. We're
Try
gonna throw
something new.
spaghetti at the wall, and we're gonna see what sticks, see
Yeah.
what
Very
happens.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, as we dive into our character analysis, we're going to start with Feyre. And I had, of course, as always, plenty to say about Feyre, but y'all, we know when her birthday is. And
Yes.
now, so do some other people, because she liked to keep that little nugget a secret. But we know her birthday is December 21st, the winter solstice. And I put a question mark by this because I could not remember. And I was wondering if you could help me with this, or our listeners. We start off the book with like ACOTAR. We start off with her being 19, right?
Yeah.
So she's now 20.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because
Yay. She's
I
20.
feel like it's like February or something when she kills Andros and she goes to spring. And then because like they're getting closer to the end of winter, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and then we just had her birthday while she was in the spring court as a
Right.
fae. So yes, 20.
Okay. So
Not even legal
these,
drinking age.
I know, right? There's some pretty, I would say, interesting parts that I write down. And I start with when we're in the human lands. Feyre is feeling
This
snarky
girl.
with Nesta. Okay. Her and Nesta, they kind of go head to head. As Feyre said before, they're kind of two sides of the same coin. And I think that also means that they can come at each other with the same ferocity. And I loved the line when she was like, I can eat, drink, fucking fight just as well as I did before. Better, even. Stop.
Mic drop.
I cackled when I heard this. I was like, okay, Feyre, what? And just being unapologetically herself in front of this
Mm-hmm.
entire crowd, right? Her sisters, I'm sure Elaine was clutching her pearls at that. And that feeling of just feeling like, she's like coming up for fresh air of
Mm-hmm.
like, let me tell you how I really feel. Oh, I love it so much. I love it. And then we're talking to her sister again, talking to Nesta, because Nesta's like, you did all of that for a guy that you're not even with. Who are
Right.
you? Right. And her talking about, I had belonged to Tamlin.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that word, that possessiveness, possession, the way that a lot of Prithian feels about her being a bride, the possession of Tamlis, who's that? Tamlin, belonging to him. And her using those words, and then throughout these chapters realizing, that's not who I am, that's not what I am,
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna
really owning that.
I want to throw a quote in that I wrote down
Mm,
that I think goes right with that. She
yes.
goes, quote, I am no one's pet. I wanted it. Life, people. I wanted to see it, feel its rush through my body. No boundaries, no limits to what I might encounter or do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly what you were just saying.
Yeah. And we see that Feyre is avoiding Tamlin. She's definitely avoiding Tamlin. She's
Yeah.
she's avoiding Rhys, and she's avoiding talking to Rhys about Tamlin's family being murdered. She shares so much with him, but there's this one piece of her I feel like she doesn't want to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to know it yet.
Yeah. I don't want this
So
like view of you to change.
yeah, that I have of you to be altered. So I think that's really interesting. I'm kind of waiting for that story to fully come up. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we talk about, the magical texting, the disappearing paper and ink. That is so fun. And I think we do kind of have to dive into that a little bit because we've already talked about it a little,
It's
but
so good.
those chapters are or those chapters, those lines are so good. Now, I will tell you, I saved talking about that for when we get into Rhys because I'm more interested in his words at that point. But we are going to get back into that in a little bit. But I loved that little magical moment. And I also really enjoyed, Feyre fighting to like her own powers in a way. She's like, it feels like she's almost fearful of what's going to come up each time that she discovers a new power until it does. And then she feels like she owns it a little bit more, which I think is so cool for her to feel like she's in a new body, right? She's rediscovering herself. So it's like she's trying to remember who she was before she died and get that piece of her back. But also, she's got all these new pieces that she's trying to figure out who she is. And it makes her such a formidable opponent, right? To know like, oh, you've got all these things in you. And she even questions, is the fact that I have Rhys's power within me make that the stronger piece of all my powers because he is the strongest High Lord? And then that makes you think, oh, well, Rhys is the strongest one. Her being that much of a formidable opponent, she would need someone that matches that kind of level, which means she would need a really powerful High Lord to be on her same level if she is as strong as all 7 of them.
She's a bad bitch.
She's badass. Yeah, that letter to Tamlin too really made us all feel like that chapter was closing. However, we must note Tamlin doesn't know that Feyre can read, let alone write. You get a letter that shows up to your front door and you're like, my girl is not carrying these abilities. I know that for sure. And then she don't got the magical power to figure that out. He doesn't know that she's been learning to read and write this whole time, even when she was in the spring court.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to go. But I don't think it's going to go well. I'll tell you that.
No.
The music in the cell moment, I really, really loved that. I felt like her thanking him afterwards and that learning to love the flying thing felt like foreshadowing and a beautiful moment of her being able to reflect and also to say the words thank you to Rhys for anything that happened under that mountain.
Yes. To
Those
think
are
about
powerful.
under the mountain. Yes. She's thinking about that time without fear in that moment. And of course, like the music under the cell wasn't terrifying, but it was. She was dying. And yeah, for her to have this moment of not only thank you, but I can think about under the mountain. I can talk about it and it not be debilitating, I think is kind of cool.
It's really cool.
Growth.
Now, beast mode Feyre, I'm so here for it. I actually teach fitness and boxing specifically. So this little section of the chapter was really fun for me to read. And yes, Cassian's technique pointers were correct. Okay. Okay.
Can we do a Illyrian based
oh my
workout?
gosh, how freaking fun would that be?
When I come to visit.
How fun. And her just using physical movement as therapy and a way to work through her feelings was very relatable for me because that's partially why I enjoy working out so much. And it kind of feels sometimes like you can transform that pain into your own power. That's definitely what I get out of it when I'm doing it. And now every time I go to teach my boxing classes, I'm going to be thinking of Feyre burning through it. Ready. It's exciting. But even more importantly, I think, is that artist Feyre has returned. The way she describes that painting as she's watching, their wings and in that training court, and she calls it death on swift wings. I'm like sobbing because this is the first moment where she sees something and goes, I know how to paint that. Right there. I know what I'll call it. I know how I'll do it. I know the colors that I'll use, the techniques, the brush strokes. She that's the human piece of her that she lost that is returning for the first time. Another layer of healing that is so beautiful. It's so exciting. It made my heart warm.
I can't wait for her to paint again. Because if you think about it too, like when she painted these pieces for Tamlin that she like wanted him to keep to show her appreciation and love and whatever. And I'm like, God, think about what you can do now and what,
Yeah.
it's like the chef at the restaurant, wanting to provide something that makes others happy. And I'm like, make yourself happy, make those around you happy. Feyre, you
Yeah.
deserve to be happy.
Was beautiful. Now, a lot of the, the jealousy that we're teetering on with Rhys and Feyre in the summer court, it's so palpable. And it really makes me sad because, for Tarquin, while we're there, he's kind of in the middle of all of this. And both Rhys and Feyre are like, oh, he'd make a good friend. He'd make a good ally, but we can't fully trust him yet with everything. I don't think he'll really get what we're trying to do because, again, summer court's neutral. There's a lot they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we think about, the potential of Feyre to be with Tarquin. And I think, I mean, I don't know that I want him to be your rebound, but I think him being your rebound is better than Rhysand being your rebound. But I don't like actually want you together.
Right. Like I think I said it last week. There's that terrible, terrible saying of like, get under somebody new to get over, or to get over somebody, you get under
Yeah,
somebody new. And it's like Tarquin might be a really great person to get under.
I know. But Feyre is always willing to do anything for anybody else, but sometimes not choose herself first. And
Mhm.
maybe choosing Tarquin first would be choosing something for herself. There's potential there. But I do think it's interesting that, she once again puts everyone above her own well-being when she says that, she'll go back if she has to. If Tamlin's going to start a war, she'll go back. She'll do whatever she has to do before she lets anyone else get hurt,
Mhm.
which she would let herself be recaged before she would let a war begin over her. That's like a type of strength and sacrifice that I don't even know if I can relate to because
Again,
it's
she's
so
just willing.
extreme.
I mean, she'll give and give and give and give and give. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, girl,
Yeah.
I mean, she's given her whole life. She gave to her family, she gave to Tamlin, she gave to Prithian. I mean, that's what she'll do. She'll do it if she
I
has to.
know.
She's always done what she has to do to survive, and that
Yeah.
may be a piece of it.
Which is another reason I really love this moment when she comes to the summer court. She puts on a dress and she even says, she's like, I love that I can be
Mm-hmm.
feminine here. Soft and pretty are the words she uses. And then wake up the
Without it
next
being,
morning. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
without her being the soft and pretty required version of her from the spring court. She can choose to be soft and pretty and feminine in the summer court while also waking up the next morning and putting on those Illyrian fighting leathers and being
Yes,
strong, proud, and firm. Right?
yes,
She can be both, she can do both. And that is what I love about these books. It's why I love when I get a beautiful dress or a beautiful ring described. Well, I also get to hear about her punching so hard she makes fire.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love both because I believe that we as women are capable and of being both in every moment
yes,
of our
yes,
day.
yes, yes,
It's
ma'am, yes,
fan
ma'am.
freaking tastic. So I really enjoyed that she gets to acknowledge that moment too within these chapters. Um, and then the final thing I just wanted to note on, Feyre says that even though Tarquin went through horrible things under the mountain, she isn't sure that he could ever understand the darkness that is inside of her, not just from under the mountain, but from before. The use of the word darkness here made my hair on the back of my neck stand up because we
Especially after we've
get
talked about darkness.
yes, we get Rhys explaining all the different types of darkness and it becoming what the bearer needs it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear Feyre describing what's inside of her as darkness. And not because it's the nugget that Rhys put in there, but her saying it's been within me all along. Stand at attention, everyone. Okay. That felt important. And I did not clock that the first two times reading this. I didn't
Yeah.
clock it until the third time. I was like,
Well,
I don't recall that. I glossed over that. That feels important.
yeah.
So pretty cool. Yeah. Karma. Okay, this was my internal monologue for my T Swifties out there. We've got Karma is the guy on the Chiefs. coming straight home to me. And literally, I'm reading this and I'm like, karma is the wraiths in the sea coming to save me because they're back, baby. I love it. Time to do a power check. We
Yes.
have a couple new ones to clock. So we've got, yes, our girl can winnow. Amazing. It was a brief moment, but we know it's within
She did
her.
it.
Okay. We know that winnowing is a part of how much power reserve you have within you. Feyre's got a lot of power, y'all. She should ultimately be able to winnow quite a distance considering that, but at least we know now she can
She
do it.
can.
We've got, we've mentioned this several times, her punching and the fire coming from there. We already knew she had autumn court powers, but this is another place where we see it. And finally, we've got summer court powers, those using the water to blow out the candles, whether it was accidental or not. And then the water animals that she's creating in the bathtub.
So
How
fun.
fun is that? So we only have one court we haven't really seen powers from yet, and that's the dawn court. So one for us to kind of keep tabs on, see if we see it appear throughout these next few chapters. Yeah. So exciting. Our girl Feyre is so powerful.
She's so cool. And I love too with like us learning her summer court powers, when they're in that temple and she's like parting the water, like she's in a sense controlling the waves as much as she can. The ocean is a big thing, but I just so cool. She's so cool.
Book.
Okay. I don't know if I have too much to add. Again, like this healing within her and like this clarity that I think is coming to her. Something that I clocked when she was also thinking about Tamlin that again I think is important for us all is that she admits that yes, she loved him, but she was also afraid of him and his rage. Like I think that's the first time she's ever said I was afraid of him. Quote, maybe those things had blinded me too. Maybe they've been a blanket over my eyes about the temper. But she's realizing it was always there. I was just blinded to it, and now that blanket is gone. And I mean, I think we can all tell, right? Like she's catching some feelings for Rhys because she sure thinks an awful lot about who, if anyone, is in this man's bed, from Amren to Cressida to the people at Rita's. Like she's really clocking, if and who is going to be in his bed. And I have something I think I'll add to that here in a little bit when we get to Rhys about like his, sexual partners and what he says about that. But she's a jealous girly. So
I know. Oh, Rhysand.
So good. Now, before we dive into him, and I don't think you said it, but I think we both had it written down. This quote from Feyre: "No one was my master, but I might be master of everything if I wished, if I dare." And like, ladies, take that for a second, okay? First of all, no one is your master. Like you're your own person. But I might be the master of everything if I wished, if I dare. Yeah, give it a shot. I can't burn through stuff with my hands and I can't make water animals, but I can go to Harvard and I can be Miss South Dakota and I can, have a podcast with my best friend. Like I can do all of these things if I just dare to try. And that's what she's saying. And so I was like, I think that quote was pretty powerful. Speaking of power, Rhysand.
Rhysand, oh my gosh. Okay, so Rhysand saying, first off, this is the first thing I wrote down. Feyre is whoever she chooses to be. When he's asked by Nesta, how Feyre would be defined within that class system. Feyre is whoever she chooses to be. Once again, ding, 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 coming back to the idea of choice when it comes to how Rhysand views Feyre. He is consistent, I tell ya. Love that about him. Now, I did write down some blush-worthy moments for Rhysand because I felt like I had to bullet point list them because there were so many. Okay. But that's another thing I love about these chapters is that we get so many of those. So the first one being, quote, "I couldn't decide which scrap of lace I wanted you to wear." When he remembers to like bring night garments for her and she forgets them, but he's like, "Don't worry.
I got you."
Blushworthy. Okay. Feyre, darling. Okay, just every time.
Every time.
Every
Every
time.
time.
Doesn't
Every
matter
time.
where
And
we're
then
at. Every time.
I don't did you write this down when they're talking to Tarquin and he's like, my lady, and Feyre clocks it.
Oh,
My lady. I was like, yes, Feyre,
yours.
darling, my lady.
Yours.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh, yes. Okay. And we've already mentioned this one. Mm. I'd rather you lick my wounds for me wherever you want to lick me, Feyre. I'd like to start with everywhere. What? I've been told I'm very good at licking. And finally, try not to moan too loud about me in your dreams. Oh my gosh.
I
I was wriggling in my chair
mm,
listening
mm.
to this. Listening, by
And
the
you
way, I'm
listen. I
listening
just
to it and
read.
I'm
I
like,
need to listen. I need to listen.
I am graphic audioing this.
That's
Hardcore
my
keyword
next.
graphic. Okay.
Oh, well. Ah, I never thought about it that way. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a quote to
It's
add.
an
That's not.
experience.
Huh. I've been meaning and wanting to do the graphic audio, and that is just pushing me that much deeper into it. I have a quote I want to add to this list that I think is swoon worthy, not in the like
Hmm.
clenching your knees, but like, oh my God, the things that he
Hmm.
says. He says to Feyre, life is better when you're around. And that just like really, I know that he flirts and whatever, but he's never untruthful.
I
He might
know.
withhold things, but he does not lie. So when he says life is better when you're around, you're like,
You mean it.
wow, you
I
you you
know.
mean that. You mean it.
Y'all,
Like how beautiful.
that
Swoon
sidebar
worthy.
reminds me of this moment where I had to leave town for Miss America for a week. And I came home and my husband was like, I missed you so much. This house feels so different when you're not here. And I was like,
Mm.
how so? He's like, you just make it feel so much warmer. And I was like, I
What a good
literally could have
man.
cried. I was like, I bring warmth to our home and you
Same vibe.
acknowledge it. Yeah,
Oh,
same vibe. I know. I know. My own little Rhysand moment here at home. Yes,
shut
I
up.
know. So
So
many.
jealous. Just kidding.
Whatever. You have your own, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I do. I do. I'm kidding wholeheartedly.
But we have our sorry, sidebar. My husband told me he's listening to our podcast full episodes so
Yay.
he can give us more listens and views. And I was like, you are like from start to finish. You're not just marking it as finished.
Oh,
He's like, no, I am
I love him.
listening to it. I know.
Thanks,
So
Ethan.
excited.
Oh, love it.
Back to Rhysand, away from my husband. Sorry, y'all don't want to hear about that. Okay, here we go. So Rhysand, choosing to see if Feyre would bring out the Adder or another Hybern spy was pretty sneaky and uncool. And also maybe understandable if I'm being honest, but he definitely should have told Feyre.
Yes.
Okay, I acknowledge that. That was wrong. That was not cool. However, Rhysand was so quick to apologize, not just once, but multiple times. And it really felt different from all those times that Tamlin would say, I'm sorry, from his
Mhm.
explosions or not listening to her, or this or that, because Rhys actually follows it up with action when he lets her into his mind, lets her see his memories of his time with the Adder, like, and have his internal monologue played for Feyre. Like, it's like the equivalent of giving your partner your phone.
Mhm.
Here, no secrets. Have at
Let
it.
me, yeah.
Not even worried.
I
That made the apology feel more intentional, feel more
mhm.
truthful.
It
So I
wasn't
could forgive it.
just intimacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, in that same vein, I want to bring up with the Adder something that like I've been thinking about is we get this description often of when he uses his powers, he doesn't even remove his hands from his pockets,
Mm.
right? So it's like he binds the Adder to the tree without really doing anything. The same way that he broke Ianthe's hand, his hands are just in his pocket. He's just chilling, and I'm like, I can't. I'm war's coming, right? We have more books. I cannot wait to see Rhys really try. like really
Without his
unleash
hands in his
that
pocket.
power. Basically, right? Like have to like put in effort almost. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're the most powerful High Lord in Prithian, and I want to see it. So.
The full display. Exactly. Now, we do get what some of Rhys's main values are, right? We learn about his court's main values, but we also learn about Rhysand's, which are loyalty, cunning, and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
This really wraps up his character into some simplistic words. But you see each of these all throughout. I mean, the way he protected Valaris, loyalty, the way
Mm-hmm.
he thinks 10 steps ahead of everybody else and appreciates that within others, cunningness, and compassion to his core. While he is not known for it on the outside, we see it time and time again on
Mm-hmm.
the inside. And I thought those are really beautiful ways to describe him that I wanted to note. Somewhere else that I want to display that compassion is the fact that he doesn't have a tithe, right? We know
Mm-hmm.
that, yes, the Court of Dreams has taxes on city dwellers, which I think is different. And I was thinking about, okay, what is the difference, right? If you want to live in the city, if you want, to have the luxuries of getting to participate in all these other things that happen within a city, similar to how we would here in the real world. You want somebody to
Mm-hmm.
come save your house from a fire, you kind of have to pay some taxes to make sure we all get those things. Okay,
Right.
fair. But he's not saying, hey, you live out in the sea, hey, you live out in the woods, you're
Pay
from
me.
quote unquote the lesser fae, bring me your fish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
that. So I think that's where I see the differences. Is it's
Yeah.
more so if you're going to participate within something that we as a collective have to continue to carry on in the same way. But then it makes me think, is this Rhys's choice? Was this something that was done before him when Valaris was created? I don't know. We don't really get that detail, but I like to think maybe it was Rhys's choice not to have a tithe. And then it
Mm-hmm.
makes you wonder, okay, do the other courts do this? Is
Right.
this
Does
something
Tarquin?
that, yeah, I'm so curious to know more about if others choose to do that, because we know Tamlin is a stickler for tradition, and that's why he says he has to do it, but doesn't even think, oh, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I could
Right.
stop.
I could do things differently. I want to
Yeah.
add to his compassionate side and maybe his loyalty too. Um, his sticking up for Feyre. Like she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need his protection, but when he threatens Cressida, when he kind of sticks up to Nesta in the human world, when she's kind of berating Feyre a little bit, like he doesn't need to, but he does. He just kind of throws out these little like, hey, you don't realize all that she's done. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but
Yeah.
let's kind of bring it back down a little. And I think that really speaks to his character too. That
Yeah.
he's willing to stick up for, of course, everybody in Valaris and his inner circle, but Feyre's really truly become a piece of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, 3 moments for me when Rhys really shows us the deeper pieces of him, his most vulnerable, scary, dark portions. One is when he talks about his mother and his sister being slaughtered and that he was the one who found them and had to bury them.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about retribution, that it didn't help him. And right away I went, Tamlin's family?
Mm-hmm.
Which, when we speak of the word retribution, we don't have the full story yet, but that tells me, were Rhys's mother and sister killed first?
Right.
Tamlin's family was killed after? That gives us, I think, like a hint to what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Sets the scene a little bit there. And the other
Yeah.
being how he describes his 2 types of nightmares. One
Mm-hmm.
being that, he talks about Amarantha being one of them. And then the second one being the light when it leaves Feyre's eyes. He's been through so much. He has seen
Mm-hmm.
so much. He was under that mountain for a long time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there are 2 main things that haunt him. And one of them is something that happened very, very recently to someone he's known for in his lifespan, a blip.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very telling. And then
Mm-hmm.
him choosing not to bed Cressida, right? He could have. He very well could have, and he does not. He says, no, she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. And that feeling of jealousy he has for Tarquin. Oh my gosh, this broke my heart. Because Tarquin will always be easy to love, and Rhys will always be hard to love. The dreamer that was born into the court of nightmares.
Doesn't that just break your heart?
It does. We see he's such a compassionate person. He's a
Mm-hmm.
loyal person, but he will always be harder to love.
Yeah.
And once again, I am thinking about Taylor Swift.
Okay. Okay, Swifties.
No, but I am. But whoever is listening to this in the Swiftie is going to get it, because there's a
Yeah.
song called Peace. And she talks about, I will be loyal to you till my dying breath. But would it be enough if I could never give you peace?
Mm.
And this reminds me of Feyre. And it reminds me, because she's, I mean, has she ever known peace in her life? Perhaps not. She could never give that to Tamlin.
Yeah.
And then Rhysand, in his own right, is like, loyalty is one of his main pillars that he stands by. But he knows that his children will be hunted. He knows that he will always be seen as the bad guy. He will never be able to give his partner peace. He will never be easy to love.
Oh, I know, it's devastating. And it's funny, like, even before we get that, we learn that he's had many lovers, and he even tried to get Amren in his bed. But he tells Feyre, he says, none of them I've ever been tempted to share my life with. And we then learn a little bit more of why that is. But I think that's also telling to his character a little bit, like, yeah, he's I was gonna say human. He's not human. He's Fae. He's a being. We're all beings. He has things he wants to do and people he wants to do, but he hasn't found anyone that he is willing, I guess, to subject to that because of his compassion and because of his loyalty. Which, yeah, I think that kind of adds into his character there too, for sure.
So true. Oh, Rhysand, you're somehow making me wriggle, giggle, cry, and laugh.
All the feelings.
So many feelings.
All the feelings.
So I think we're going to shift into some of our secondary characters now. And, these
Can
will always
tell a funny story?
Oh, yeah.
Really quickly on Rhysand. So we learned that he smells of sea and citrus. For my birthday, I went candle making.
Did you? You did, didn't you?
Oh, I did. So my candles smells are grapefruit and volcano, but it was very much like sea air, citrusy. And yeah, it was wholly based on Rhysand, and to have it here in my office, and the sticker on the outside, while yes, it's a photo of my husband and I from our wedding, it does have the quote, to the stars who listen. And yeah.
I love it.
I'll show it all to you next time when I pick it up. Does it
smell good?
It smelled good when I was mixing it. We'll see what happens when I put it under my candle warmer. I was hoping to have it going today, but life, and I'll go pick it up, and you guys will all get to see it next time. So
exciting. Can't wait. Yeah. Well, the first character I want to dive into, it's going to be pretty quick for me, but it's Morgan. Something I wanted to add to Moore's kind of character log that we're creating here is that she loves to go dancing. Yes. She loves to go to Rita's. She's a party girl, and I love it. Apparently she goes very often.
Yeah.
She's always down for a good time.
Yeah. I don't really have much to add. I love, again, that we get this kind of like normalcy of some of our, characters, especially with her being this like super powerful, woman and whatever. And I also want to note that, granted, we don't know where she goes or who she goes with or whatever, but after a night at Rita's, she like disappears, and Azriel and Cassian are like, where did you go? Whatever. So it's like, you go, girl. I mean, as long as you're doing good consenting things, like, yeah, she's got a life outside of the inner circle. So yeah, good for you, girl. Good for you.
Now, Amren. Okay, sneaky but sweet. Okay, we remember that amulet she gave Feyre to go see the bone carver. She's like, it will protect you. No harm shall come to you. It was fake.
This girl's compassionate. She's a little nice. She, I mean, greater good, yes, but like, why'd you do that?
It made me like her more. that was a moment where I was like, oh, you are deeper than this
Yeah.
scary being, right? You really wanted to just help Feyre through this. Now, she also, I think, is like an ends to a means kind of person. Like, okay, you're the one who has to go see the bone carver. I need you to get your ass down there.
Yeah.
Here, this necklace will protect you. So maybe it's a little bit of that too, because
Yeah.
Amber's very kind of like a straightforward character. She's not a person, character, but I thought it was a very thoughtful action nonetheless. And given that we don't know about her other than that we should be scared, it opened her character up. Speaking
Yeah.
of her character, she drinks blood.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think every single person who reads this goes, vampire? Is that what you are?
Right. Like, what are you? Also, when they bring her the blood, like the restaurateur, the shopkeeper, whatever, like kisses everybody on the cheeks. No, no, not Amren. He bows to her and then brings her a goblet of blood. I'm like,
Spiced blood, by the way.
right? Yeah. Well, because how else are you gonna drink it, right?
I don't know. Fresh spiced blood. Okay.
Straight from
Feeling
the
very
tap.
vampirish to me, but we don't get that description. It's just, I think, what we are going to automatically associate with our heads to what we can call to what we know. And that might not be exactly what it is, but that's our first reference that we get here.
Mm-hmm.
I did really enjoy the fact that, yes, we've talked about Rhys invited Amber to his bed, but we did not talk about her response, which was to laugh at him.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder, what does she like then? Right?
Right.
Like, what is
Right.
she into? And speaking of that, we do get some slight little hints that she could be into Varian when she goes to the summer court. She
Mm-hmm.
gives him an excited look right away when she's there, that that could have just been a moment, but Sarah J Maas intentionally wrote down that for her character, which makes you want
Right.
to pay attention to it. And then we get a second moment where Feyre's like, what is Amber gonna eat while she's here? Well, maybe Varian. Two times where we have a callback to this one man that we don't know
She'll
in
eat him in some
association with
way.
Amren. So
Mm.
so that makes us wonder, who is he, and is that her preference? Perhaps, I don't know. She clearly isn't into Rhys, so we'll find out. And then I just thought it was funny when Caradwin was like, or Nuala was like, Caradwin drew the short stick. She has to take care of Amren.
Like, oof.
Oh, yeah. Those are my little moments for Amren.
As we think about Amren and Rhys sharing a bed and her laughing him off, I'm like, that actually makes sense though, that he would probably do that or try to, do that with her, because she's powerful. He's
Yeah.
powerful. Like we were saying, like equals. So yeah, I see it. I also find it funny. Amren's probably like, no, I'm going to be the most powerful, and just, yeah. I find it interesting that she's watched by Azriel even when Rhys says not to. Like Rhysand tells Azriel, don't do it. It's fine. You don't need to. But he still does, because
Yeah.
we don't know what she is. She's pretty powerful. She could use the Book of Breathings to unleash herself and, I don't know, maybe kill them all. Because there's this one part where she lets out a vicious, unearthly snarl at Cassian when he's like telling her to do lunges. And I'm just like, God, I just need to know who and what you are. Something that really made me laugh about Amren, and again, just makes her this like someone you can like, somebody you want to know more about, is when they joke that she is a big sports gal, that she's super into the sports that are happening in Valaris. And I'm like,
What?
of all the stuff, of all the shit, you are a sporty gal.
Now, Miranda, a girl has to have her hobbies.
Oh, I'm not. She reads ancient languages, she drinks blood, and she bets on sports. Like, I get it.
It's the betting part that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get more jewels and money from this.
Mm-hmm.
From my little fire drink corner.
Yes, she's like, let me hoard all of the little things. Are her, this just came to my brain, are her and the Weaver similar beings?
I don't know.
They both like to hoard their little things. I don't know. That just,
in the sense that they both
brain.
seem otherworldly, perhaps.
And like there's something else. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Just she's relatable. I can't wait to get to know more about Amryn and
Absolutely.
what in the heck she is.
What's she doing? Now,
Mm.
let's turn our attention to the men of our inner circle, starting with Cassian. So, we learned that it's been a few centuries since anyone has been able to get under his skin, but who can? Nesta.
Of
Very
course.
quickly, might I add. And man, Cassian rips into her and a little bit into Elaine, but really focuses it on Nesta. Like, you let that 14-year-old girl walk into the woods that close to the mountain. You let her do all this, this, this. And like, what kind of a sister are you? And now you want to speak to her like this? Like, there's not a lot of other people that speak to Nesta that way. And
Mm-hmm.
Nesta gives it right back. And we have this description of Nesta that I'm going to just go over to really quick, um, which is a wolf who had been circling a doe, right? Cassian being the wolf, only to find a mountain cat in its skin instead. And I don't know that Cassian was expecting that, but
Yeah.
realized there is a ferociousness to her that he gets back. I also wrote down the thing about the Illyrian tattoos for luck and glory, Cassian being covered in them. And he is a warrior, a leader of war. And then we see him saying sorry to Feyre, being
Mm-hmm.
understanding of Feyre's feelings. It's not necessarily what you would expect from someone with that character description, but it's also what makes us trust him so quickly. And knowing that Rhys values compassion doesn't necessarily make it surprising that someone that he keeps in his inner circle is also someone who is very compassionate.
Yeah. I clocked that too, especially when Rhys is talking about Cassian and Azriel. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
quote, I've witnessed Cassian rip apart opponents and then puke his guts up once the carnage stopped, sometimes even mourn them. Like he does what he has to do, but that doesn't mean he feels good about it.
Yeah. Okay. And then not only is he compassionate, not only is he fierce, he's also funny. He's like, I destroyed one building. Come on, take
And
me
he's
with
banned
you.
banned for eternity. I'm like, what did you do?
Must have been a pretty big, important building. That's all I gotta say.
For real. For real. He's so funny and he's so quippy and they all are. It's so good. It's so
I
good.
love it. I love it. Um, should we go on to Azrael?
Yes, our boy Az.
So Azrael, we do learn he is over 5.5 centuries old. So he's ancient. All right. They all are, but we actually like get an age from him this time.
Yeah.
And he has admitted this is another one of those like vulnerable moments. He admits that he can be scared when flying. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was so sweet and vulnerable. Cassian admits that same thing too. So there's not this sense of like a need to be continuously flawless and strong at all times and masculine. Like they also allow themselves to show like, oh no, I am a
I have
fierce warrior. I
feelings.
am your spy master. But yeah, I can get scared when I'm flying through a storm. I have
Mm-hmm.
those feelings. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that also is another testament to Rhys because he allows room for all of those things to exist at once, not only within himself, but in the people that he surrounds himself with. And that to me plays a direct parallel to Lucian and how he does not feel like he can feel all of his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
He has to keep some of them set aside in order to choose Tamlin. Just so sad.
Choice.
Yes, once again. Now, I think it was interesting that it took Azriel an hour to break the adder. I did note that the adder has silver blood. I don't know if that's important. It was
Just
a detail
interesting.
that we
Mm-hmm.
added, so I wanted to write it down. Um, and the icy rage in Azriel that has never been able to thaw.
I
Interesting.
also wrote that down. Mm-hmm.
Never been able to thaw that icy rage. He's vulnerable, he's honest, but there is something within him that has never quite been healed after
Mm-hmm.
5.5 centuries. It's a long
Mm-hmm.
time to hold on to that.
And Rhys
And
doesn't know what it is because, like, he doesn't know
no,
what his life was really like before they met, like what those moments in that sort of
I
dungeon and
mean,
with his half brothers.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
we'll never
we
know.
do know that Rhysand broke Azrael's brother's knees for it. We do get that detail.
Well, yeah.
But This is that's mostly what I clocked about Azrael this time.
Yeah. Yeah, I not really much more. I loved his quote, "We're born hearing the song of the wind." I just thought that was like really kind of
Mm,
beautiful, the song of the wind.
mhm.
Um, and that he has infinite patience, but more can break him down. And Elaine almost seems to like catch him off guard when they're in the
Mm,
human realm. Like he just kind of seems when she just outright asks him questions and, kind of is willing to allow them to be there. Like I just find it interesting that these two women are who seem to kind of, I don't know, trip him up a little bit. So
yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting. And speaking of sisters,
Well, we're gonna start with Miss Nesta. Um,
yes.
Nesta, this she's been described as this like queen almost, even though she's not officially. And
Yes.
then we get Nesta gave him a vulgar gesture. I hadn't realized she knew how to make. Like she may be a lady, but she's still fierce.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny when Feyre noted that. And I was
Mm-hmm.
imagining it. Nesta like throwing up the middle finger and Feyre being like, oh,
You know how to do
I
that?
didn't know you knew that. Oh, yes. And I also noted this line, which I thought was really hilarious. It's about both Nesta and Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, to her credit, did not faint, and Nesta, to hers, did not hiss at them.
Very telling of who they are.
Yes. And the fact that Feyre is saying this and she's like, she says it in a way that's a bit comical, a bit
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, well, I mean, I gotta give it to her. She didn't faint and she didn't hiss. Like, oh
Oh,
yeah. Again,
Nesta.
yes, to their credit, that is true because if you were to meet the Bat Boys, you might faint.
I think I would faint in a different way from Elaine, but yes.
Perhaps.
I so we mentioned this earlier in the summary, but I clocked the way that Nesta reacts to
Mm.
Feyre and the Bat Boys in that she like angles herself between them and Elaine. Quote, I don't want them in my house or near Elaine. Like she's very much like I need to protect, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Um her and Cassian. We talked about this. Nesta's the one who can get under his skin. And Rhys is like, too bad they're both inclined to kill each other. And he's not fond of Nesta. He's not fond of
Mm-mm.
either of the sisters. But he goes, I would bet on Nesta between with the matchup between her and Cassian. Yeah, yeah, I would kind of love to see that. And I think that's a testament to how like brutal she is or how brutal she comes across. And speaking of the way that she comes across, we get all of these royalty references of her. And so again, we mentioned Nesta was waiting at the head of the table, a queen ready to hold court. Like Feyre
Mm.
continues to see her, yes, as kind of this brutal person, but also this, I don't know, leader, maybe?
Yeah.
Leader,
Yeah.
protector,
Well, she's the eldest sister.
which, hey, I mean, I
So
get
you
it.
might always see her that way. It's
Yeah.
true. Now, over to Elaine. We talk about how she is engaged to a Fae hating Lord's son.
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah. So Grayson, her intended, if you will, and his father, Lord Nolan, and their fortress that has a wall around it taller than the trees. That description felt very important and
Mm-hmm.
extreme, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that must have been there for a long time, considering that would probably take a minute to build.
Yeah.
Or did they put it up in the last year? We don't
Interesting.
know. But clearly, there is some extreme money and
Well, and they want
influence
her
within
money.
them.
I
Mm-hmm,
mean, they're
mm-hmm. To
betrothed, and Nesta
fight
says it.
to fight more of the Fae. Yeah. So that's
Mm-hmm.
such a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
And Elaine being in love with somebody that's going to hate her sister. I don't
Right.
see that going
Especially
well.
with her compassion and her willingness to help Feyre. I
Yeah.
I really like loved and was kind of shocked by that initial growth when Feyre is in the human realm. And
It
Elaine
makes you
says,
wonder. Sorry, it makes you wonder if
"No, you're
Grayson
good."
is like his father. Like, is he Faye hating as well?
Right.
Is he a product of his environment? Because if Elaine is so willing to see the best in anyone and willing to give someone a
Mm-hmm.
try, you see that with how she brings the court into her home and welcomes them and is willing to be the first one willing to be able to help them. How could someone with such an open heart fall in love with someone with a closed heart?
Right.
So we don't really know much about Grayson yet, except what we assume.
Or is it willful ignorance of wanting protection, of wanting,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see. But I loved her introspection and the way that she was vulnerable with Feyre in allowing her into their home and saying, I understand that I feel like she finally is saying, you gave and gave for years. Let us help
Mm-hmm.
you. Let us help others. We failed you. Nesta and I failed you, but maybe we don't have to fail everyone else. And I'm like, good for you, Elaine. That feels like growth. You're still hopeful, you're still kind of doe-eyed, but you're not as blind to the world around you, and you're not as
Yep.
blind to the difference that you can make. Even if you're this just whatever girly small little human, you can do something. And I think that's really big.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we have three new characters that we meet, and we've touched on them a lot. So we're going to go through this pretty quick, but we've got
Yeah.
Tarquin, Cressida, and Varian. So some things I want to know about Tarquin. First of all, just a reminder of who we're imagining in our head. And Miranda, you noted his description if you want to share.
Yes, he has rich brown skin, white hair, and turquoise eyes. And I said he reminded me of, I think they're the Valerians, the family in the House of the Dragon from Game of Thrones.
Yep. Yep, exactly. I noted those things too, and that Feyre describes him as a dreamer, just
Mm-hmm.
like Rhysand, and
Mm-hmm.
potentially, I think, her too, being that artist. Somebody who believes in changing the class system in Prithian, and someone who's smart. I'm kind of sad they had to trick him, just like
I
Feyre is, feeling
know.
sad about that. Feels
I
like such a
know.
cool character. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cressida, yes, we note that she is a princess. She's very into the rules, and her idea of like, yeah, I could return you to Tamlin right away makes me go, is does she really, is she jealous? Like, does she want Tamlin, or is she just simply not a trusting person because
Mm-hmm.
because Feyre is associated with Rhysand now?
Or does
Um,
she want Rhysand because now Feyre's like in the night
I don't
court
know.
and
There's a lot
yeah,
about her that still feels like question mark.
unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the way she snickers at the thought of the class systems being broken down. Is it because she doesn't want them broken down, or because she doesn't believe it's possible?
Mm-hmm.
Right. For Varian, I just wrote down Cressida's older brother, Captain of the Guard, Prince of Adriata. Things for us to keep in mind about him.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Uh, and I think you actually noted this in things that like didn't click, so we can kind of bring these
Yes,
together.
transition.
But Nuala and Caradwyn, yes, I'm saying that right now. We learn more about them in that they are half high fae, but also half wraith,
Mm-hmm.
which Amryn says, quote, are nothing but shadow and mist, able to walk through walls, stone, you name it. And so and they're also like they work for Rhys, but they work for Asriel because they
Mm-hmm.
are kind of made of shadow and darkness. And I was so glad that we got a little bit more understanding of their makeup, if nothing
Yeah.
else, and like how they can do what they can do of just like hiding Feyre when she was under the mountain and moving through walls and just kind of showing up wherever
Yeah.
they are.
Handy little spies to have,
They
right?
are. They
Yeah,
are.
so that was something I did say, like, oh, this didn't quite fully click into place for me. I want to pay attention to this for the future. I had said those same things. Excuse me. So the next thing that I noted was Rhysand saying he didn't send the images of Valaris with the music to Feyre when she was in the cell. Like, yes, he sent the music. He did not send that image. And it makes me question, how did she get that image? She wasn't
Right.
Fae yet, so she doesn't have the Daemati powers yet.
And
Just
he
the
wouldn't share
bond.
that. He wouldn't share
No,
that image. No one
nope.
knows about Valaris.
It's
I
the
said
thing
it's
he
like
would protect
Bella
the most.
before she was a vampire. Like it's was this always within her? Did she always have this connection, this power?
Well,
Interesting.
there is one thing that does exist between her and Rhys, which is a bond, but that's it. So I want to pay attention to this. I want to know more of how she got that image. And then there's this moment where they're talking about, you haven't been able to keep away from me since Calumet. And
Mm-hmm.
she's flirting with him. And then we don't get a snarky, flirty response back from Rhys. No, no, no. We get something rippled in his eyes, something I couldn't place. Once again, me going, what is that? What is that? That's not what we've come to expect. But every now and then we get that, like when she is flirting with him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I,
Flashes.
I love to see you on your knees. That whole moment, and then
Ugh.
Feyre, you're my salvation. Like it's we're having these cute, flirty moments, and then serious. This feels the
Mm-hmm.
same, and it feels significant in that way. I did note that we at the beginning of this section, Feyre talks about how her last name is not of much importance to her because she used to avoid it because of
Mm-hmm.
its association with her father. And then it made me go, we don't have last names from a lot of people. We don't have last names from Tamlin. We don't have Rhysand's last name. They exist, but they must not be that important. But
Mm-hmm.
we don't get them. So I'm interested if we'll ever learn about those.
Right,
And
if they matter.
finally, I wanted to know about Daddy Archeron. Okay, he has gone in the continent to the city of Neve until the summer. He's there to trade and go to a summit for the threat above the wall. So even the continent is aware of
Mm-hmm.
that there's something wrong, which means I would assume then the queens are already aware that something's wrong. So this letter that they sent to them should not be a surprise.
Right. Well, yeah, it should not be. No.
So I just wanted to note that it made me go, I would like to pay
Mm-hmm.
attention.
Yeah. With that, like with the queens and like talking about the Book of Breathings, I'm really curious why the summer court got
Mm.
half the book. Is it that
They're neutral.
neutrality?
Yeah.
Right, but I'm like there's other neutral courts. Like I would be curious to know, they clearly love their possessions. So I
Mm.
just was and I don't know that it matters, but even Amryn is like, why did they get this? So yeah, why did Summer get half the book? And then I brought it up last time, and I'm gonna bring it up again because it was a part of this chunk. Feyre mentions kind of this weirdness between Mor and Az and Cassian, and Rhys is like, keep it to yourself. And she kind of like throws it at Cassian a little bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
just am so interested to know a little bit more about like that dynamic that clearly like everybody knows about. So did something happen? Is there something happening? Like I just feel like that's going to play into the inner circle a little bit more. And then of course all
Mm-hmm.
of the other questions and things that I always bring up and ask throughout the episode. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to our ending to talk about our
Yeah.
heroine's journey and what we all can take away from this. Now, I promise I'm not gonna do actually, I don't promise anything, but I won't bring up Taylor Swift in every moment. But listen,
You can.
it's not so much about her, but it's about I have her lyrics in my brain rent free. All
Yeah.
right. And so much of why she is famous is because of her lyricism and the fact that it can make us feel things. And as I'm reading these books, there are lines popping into my head nonstop. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to read through some of these lyrics that made me feel connections to the storyline. So the first one is I gave you all my youth for free. Felt like her talking about Tamlin and how she gave away
Yeah.
so much of herself and for free. Like I gave it to you, and what did I get in return? You needed me, but you needed drugs more. talking about Tamlin once again, like, yeah, you needed me, but you needed to protect me and keep me more than you actually needed who I was.
Yeah.
And I can fix him. No, really, I can. This one again about Tamlin, her feeling like maybe she could help him heal, maybe she could help him from him being broken, but ultimately we all know that fixing a man never really goes well.
No.
And I'm just mad as hell because I loved this place.
Mm.
Her thinking about the spring court and how she did love it at first. It felt like something that
Mm-hmm.
was really suited to her. And then it turns into something that she is angry about.
Yeah.
That she can't even see the beauty within anymore. She only sees the cage. The line that there is escape in escaping. There's beauty within that. You can find yourself again. And the final one. It's a little bit longer, but I think very, very telling of where we are at. There'll be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you. Both of these things can be true. There is happiness in our history across the great divide. There is a glorious sunrise. And I feel like that's where we're at. That's where we are left with when we are in these chapters. She writes that letter, and I think she is starting to see that sunrise of,
Yeah.
okay, I can move forward now. Yes, I was happy at a time with you, but I am not anymore. And I'm ready to move on. And this part of her journey feels like such an honest reflection of what it's like to leave a relationship that once felt like safety, to finally give yourself that permission to grieve what you thought you had, while
Yeah.
also feeling the anger, the deep anger that comes with realizing how much you gave of yourself to the wrong person. She shows us that it is okay to mourn the version of you and the future you believed in, even as you acknowledge the ways that you were diminished, silenced, and made to feel smaller. And that feeling, that anger, that sharpness, or that heartbreak is still better than living in constant fear or terror or sadness. And what resonates most is how she begins to let herself move forward, right? Without that guilt, without, and all of those extra weighted feelings, and allows herself to feel that joy, connection, and longing to exist again, right? And without
Mm-hmm.
seeing it as some kind of like betrayal or selfishness, but proof that I'm not broken. I felt broken then, but I am not. I can be the master of all things if I dare. Even
Yes.
with the weight of the world pressing down on her, she chooses to prioritize finding herself again, reminding all of us that healing and identity and self reclamation are not distractions from life's important responsibilities. They are an essential part of the work that we have to do. And her journey quietly reassures us that we're allowed to carry grief, growth at the same time, and that choosing ourselves after loss is not a sign of weakness, but it's actually one of the bravest things that we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't be allowed to go first with these. I'm totally kidding. I love it. It's, and I mean, we add little like nuggets throughout the whole show, but I just want to end on this one. There's some deep words from Rhysand when he says, and it's 5 words. Love can be a poison. And these words are to
Mm.
Feyre about Tamlin, but maybe even Feyre to herself and what she let herself become, and all of the things that you just said, Autumn. Everybody can rewind and listen again, but it's okay to move on. It's okay to grow. It's okay to grieve something that you thought was right. But it's good. It's better to realize, that it wasn't for you. It wasn't meant for you. Like I think we've mentioned that a few times throughout this chunk in this episode, and that kind of also seems to be a little bit of the theme, if you will, of this portion of ACOMAF is just, you know, it's okay to move on and to grow and to know your worth. So
Flirt your little heart out.
oh yeah, yeah, keep it up. We're not gonna complain about that in the slightest. Keep it
Amen.
up.
Now, yeah, I know you want to keep going. I know you want to turn the page, but we've got to close the book on this one.
But hey, every epic needs a cliffhanger, right? So let's savor the suspense.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe and write a review.
Unless it's bad.
And before you remove your bookmark to prepare for next week, we will be doing chapters 38 through 48. That's the end of 48. So remember that whether you are conquering your own kingdom or just cozying up with a good book, you are the main character of your own epic tale.
All right, queens, for real now. You got to put the book down, hold your crown high, and we will catch you on the next page.